Everyone seems convinced that the shadowy figure stalking Trina is either a brand new villain or some forgotten associate looking to settle a minor score. But if you ask me, we are looking in completely the wrong direction. We have been conditioned to expect the obvious. But what if the threat is a ghost from a very specific watery grave? I am talking about a threat intimately tied to the greatest trauma of Trina's life. I genuinely believe the person lurking in the shadows, orchestrating this psychological warfare, is none other than Esme. To understand why this makes perfect sense, we have to look at the current landscape of Trina's world. Right now, she is finally starting to piece her life back together after enduring unimaginable grief. She is navigating a new romance with Kai, trying to find some semblance of normalcy. Furthermore, we are seeing a growing closeness between her and Simon that could blossom into something much deeper. Trina is moving forward, healing from the devastating loss she suffered. But in the world of daytime drama, happiness is usually just the calm before a massive storm. The stalker is not randomly targeting her. This is a calculated campaign designed to monitor her every move, analyze her relationships, and find the perfect moment to strike. Let us rewind the clock and look at the incident that supposedly ended it all. We all remember that harrowing plunge into the Seine. Spencer and Esme went over the edge. The dark water swallowed them whole, and the narrative told us they were gone forever. The authorities searched, the families mourned, and the book was supposedly closed. But guys, we know the golden rule of soap operas. If there is no body, there is absolutely no death. The show has a long history of pulling characters back from the afterlife with unexpected twists. I have never bought into the idea that the icy waters claimed them for good. I fully believe they survived that fall, dragging themselves onto some obscure riverbank, forever tethered by that terrifying event. If we operate under the assumption that this theory is correct, we have to ask ourselves what exactly they have been doing all this time. I suspect that Spencer and Esme have been living together in secret, completely off the grid. Imagine the sheer psychological weight of that scenario. Two people with a volatile, toxic, and deeply complicated history, stranded in the shadows together without any external interference. For Esme, this would be the ultimate twisted fantasy realized having Spencer all to herself, entirely dependent on her, far away from the judging eyes of his wealthy family and the woman he truly loved. It is a forced proximity that would inevitably forge an unbreakable, albeit incredibly unhealthy trauma bond between them. This is where it gets interesting, and where my theory takes a massive leap into the territory of legacy-altering drama. What if their time in hiding resulted in something permanent, something that ties them together for the rest of their lives? I strongly suspect that during their time away, Spencer and Esme secretly had a child together. Just think about the profound implications of a secret baby in this specific dynamic. A child changes absolutely everything, shifting the balance of power entirely. It is the ultimate anchor that binds two people together. For someone like Esme, who has always desperately craved family and security, a child with Spencer is the ultimate trump card. It binds him to her in a way that resentment cannot sever. When you analyze Esme's psychology and her past behavior, this scenario fits her character profile flawlessly. Esme has always been driven by a terrifying mix of severe abandonment issues and a ruthless desire for control. She operates from a place of deep insecurity, constantly masking it with manipulation. Having Spencer's child would give her the ultimate leverage she has always sought. She knows perfectly well that Spencer possesses a fierce sense of duty and honor. He would never, under any circumstances, abandon his own flesh and blood. Esme would absolutely weaponize this child, using the innocent baby as a shield to keep Spencer compliant and by her side, effectively trapping him in a life he never truly chose but feels obligated to maintain. Meanwhile, back in the city, Trina has been doing the impossible work of grieving and eventually forcing herself to open her heart again. We see her finding comfort, laughter, and a new rhythm with Kai, a relationship that offers her a safe space to breathe. We also see the subtle, simmering potential with Simon, a connection that hints at a bright future. Trina is proving her immense resilience, showing the world that she can survive the worst heartbreak imaginable. But from Esme's twisted perspective, watching Trina move on is not a relief. It is a massive, glaring threat to her fragile reality. Esme is likely keeping tabs on everything, seething in the shadows as she watches Trina build a life that does not include mourning Spencer forever. Because here is the brutal truth that Esme cannot escape, no matter how far away they are hidden. Spencer's heart has never and will never truly leave Trina. Esme is highly observant and smart enough to know this unspoken reality. She can look into Spencer's eyes during their quiet moments and see the lingering longing, the unspoken grief for the love he left behind. Even if Spencer is physically present with Esme, his soul remains tethered to Trina. Esme knows that if Spencer ever caught wind of Trina's new relationships, whether it is the current romance with Kai or the budding connection with Simon, it might be the catalyst that breaks her spell. Spencer might realize that if he does not fight for Trina right now, he will lose her forever. This brings us directly to the core motivation behind the stalking. Esme is not just creeping around in the shadows for the sheer thrill of it. This is a highly calculated preemptive strike. She wants to completely eliminate Trina as a romantic obstacle before she and Spencer make their inevitable grand return to town. Esme knows that she cannot just walk back into the city and expect Spencer to stay by her side if Trina is standing right there, looking beautiful and ready to welcome him back. So, Esme is playing the long game. She is gathering crucial intelligence, learning Trina's new vulnerabilities, and plotting a way to ruin Trina's life so thoroughly that Trina will either flee the city in terror or be completely broken by the time Spencer returns. Now, I have to pause and play devil's advocate against my own brain for a second, because we must look at both sides. If Spencer is alive and still deeply loves Trina, why on earth would he stay away for years? Why would he let the woman he loves suffer through that agonizing grief? It feels like a massive character flaw if he just chose to hide out of cowardice. But what if it was not entirely his choice to remain hidden? Perhaps the fall caused a severe physical injury, or even temporary amnesia, giving Esme the perfect window to manipulate his reality. Or maybe, once the hypothetical child was born, Esme threatened to take the baby and vanish forever if Spencer tried to contact his past life. If you hold a man's child hostage, you hold his world. If this storyline unfolds the way I am predicting, the dramatic payoff will be absolutely legendary and deeply emotional. When the truth finally comes out and the secrets are exposed, Spencer will be thrust into the most agonizing, impossible dilemma of his entire life. On one side, he has Trina, the absolute love of his life, the woman who represents his redemption, his moral compass, and his true happiness. On the other side, he has Esme, the woman who shares his darkest trauma, the person who kept him alive, and more importantly, the mother of his child. How does a man possibly choose between the woman his soul yearns for and the innocent child he has sworn by blood and duty to protect and raise? It is a classic, heart-wrenching tragedy in the making. This dilemma becomes even more excruciating when you factor in the criminal element of the stalking. Let us say Spencer finally discovers that Esme is the one terrorizing Trina, invading her privacy, and trying to destroy her mind. His immediate instinct would be to protect Trina at all costs, to be her hero once again. But turning Esme over to the police means sending the mother of his child to a high-security prison. It means subjecting his own son or daughter to the foster system, repeating the very cycle of abandonment that ruined Esme and severely damaged Spencer himself during his childhood. Esme knows exactly what she is doing by creating this trap. She is banking on the fact that Spencer's love for his child will override his desire for justice. This terrifying dynamic makes Esme the most dangerous kind of adversary Trina has ever faced in her entire life. She is an enemy who has absolutely nothing left to lose and an entire future to gain. Esme is fighting for her survival, her constructed family, and her claim to the legacy she feels she has rightfully earned. She will not hesitate for a second to destroy Trina's relationships with Kai or Simon, poisoning those wells permanently. She will not hesitate to ruin Trina's career, her reputation, or her sanity. Esme operates exclusively in the dark, using psychological warfare to make Trina feel isolated and incredibly vulnerable. By the time Esme is done, she hopes Trina will be a mere shell of her former self, completely undesirable to Spencer. Esme's master plan is essentially about clearing the board before the main event begins. She is acting as the invisible hand, meticulously orchestrating chaos in Trina's life so that her own eventual return feels like a natural progression rather than a hostile invasion. If she can drive a permanent wedge between Trina and her current support system, if she can make Trina look unstable or push her to leave town for her own safety, then Esme can stroll back into the city with Spencer and their child, playing the role of the miraculous, reformed survivor who just wants to build a peaceful family. It is a brilliant, twisted, and deeply sociopathic strategy that perfectly aligns with everything we know about her dark, manipulative character and desperate need to win. We are witnessing a ticking time bomb right before our eyes, guys. The shadows are growing longer, the threats are becoming more tangible, and the stalker is getting much bolder with every passing day. If my theory holds up, this is not just a simple mystery about who is following Trina. It is the dark prologue to the most emotionally devastating reunion this show has seen in a decade. Spencer is out there somewhere, trapped in a complex web of duty, guilt, and manipulation, while the woman he loves is being hunted by the mother of his child. When the truth finally breaks the surface and the lies wash away, the fallout will shatter every relationship in its path. But until that shadow steps fully into the light, we are left wondering just how much damage can be done.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.